Have you ever wanted to write a book so that you can get speaking fees? If that's you, then watch this video because I'm going to walk you through different ways on how you can take a book and turn it into paid and lucrative speaking gigs to build a business on the back end of this. Now, almost every author that I speak with wants to be a speaker on the back end of their book. Now, they might want to do it for certain business growth. They might want to do it for personal income. They might want to do it for a variety of reasons. But here's the good news for you. Not only am I going to show you how to become a speaker on the back end of your book, but I'm actually going to share with you my 3 favorite ways to leverage your book to make money as a speaker. Now, my name is Jake Kelfer, and I wrote my first book at 23 years old. And within 4 months, I was getting paid thousands of dollars to speak on stages across the United States. I started regional, went to statewide, and then expanded into nationwide and eventually overseas. Since then, I've written 4 best-selling books and I've spoken all over the United States and China as a paid speaker. Okay? I want to show you how you can do this too. Because I was just a 23-year-old with 1 year of work experience. I wrote a book and I said, now what? I had to figure it all out on my own, and I want to give you the shortcut and enlighten you to the different ways that you can monetize your book as a speaker. As I mentioned, my name is Jake Kelfer. I'm a 4-time best-selling author, and I run a company called Big Idea to Bestseller, where we help top-tier executives and high-level entrepreneurs create their own books for business growth and legacy. We work with people at every stage of the process and have helped hundreds of people write, publish, launch, and market their books to achieve both personal and professional business-oriented goals. So let's get into the first way. So this might be one of the most obvious ways that you are thinking that you could get paid as a speaker, and that is through paid keynotes. This is when you are getting paid to deliver a speech at an event. You could be a keynote speaker. You could be a breakout speaker. You could be a workshop speaker. There are different ways that you can get paid as a speaker at these events, but this is one of my favorite. And as you can see here, this is a filled up auditorium theater that has thousands and thousands of people on the lower deck as well as the upper deck. And this was a paid keynote that I got to speak on the back end of my books and the messages that I shared within them. Now, here's the thing. When you write a really great book, okay, you are immediately seen as an authority on that particular topic. This is relevant for you because it makes it easier for the decision makers to see you as the right person for their audience. As a matter of fact, I've talked to people who make decisions, and when I hear people and how they make decisions, they want to know that they're going to make the right speaker hire for their event. It's a big deal. And they don't want to make the wrong decision. And so one of the ways that I have found that makes them feel at ease and to feel confident is, one, you wrote the book, so you're an expert on it. They immediately believe that to be true more. But 2, they know that you can deliver because they've read your entire book. And if they like the message in your book, that means they're likely going to like you as the speaker because you are the author. This is something that's so pivotal when it comes to the psychology of being hired. A big problem that I see with a lot of people who want to speak is they're like, hey, I'm a speaker, pay me to speak. And they're like, well, what have you done? Can I see demos? I haven't seen anything of you. And that can take a while to build those relationships, get that experience, get them to see you in action. Whereas when you have a book, you can cut the line because you have a book, they read your book, they know exactly what your style is and who you are, and they can start to see you and envision you as a speaker. Now, where this gets really exciting is that the more specific your book is to the events you want to speak at, the better. And I'll give you an example here of this. Let's say you wrote a book on short-term rentals. Now, that is a niche-specific thing. Let's say you have someone else who wrote a book on general real estate. Well, if you are going to a conference on short-term rentals, if you wrote the short-term rentals book, you are going to be likely to be selected as the keynote speaker on short-term rentals versus the general real estate person. So the more niche specific you can get, the easier the pitch is, the easier the connection is between you and the decision maker. So here's a quick little approach of how I like to get gigs when it comes to paid speaking gigs. Now, I want to say this. There are a lot of different ways that you can go about this, but I'm going to give you a couple tips here that I've used to get paid thousands of dollars to speak. Number 1, I wrote a great book. The book is relevant to the audience I aim to speak to. Second is I've given my book out to a lot of decision makers and event coordinators. Immediately, this separates me from everyone else who's just like, hey, are you looking for a speaker? Hey, are you looking for a speaker? Instead, I'm sending them a copy of my book saying, hey, I know you have this event coming up. I want to send you a copy of my book so you can get to know me a little bit, and I'd love to kind of build our relationship. That's how I did it early on in my careers. I would just mail copies of my books and try to build the relationship that way versus just pitching myself right off the bat. The third thing that I would suggest you do is go to the conferences or the events in your industry and start networking. See what is their speaker selection process. See who's making those decisions. If you're brand new in this type of work, you're going to want to really do a little bit more research so then you know who to pitch. If you've been around the industry for a while, but now you're really trying to get on the speaker circuit, then you probably know who might be the person to speak to, okay? The cool thing about all this is then you can go on a site like Apollo.io or LinkedIn Sales Navigator and start searching by specific titles in your specific industry, as well as start finding the events, making a document, and putting together a list of 50 to 100 places that you want to speak at and who the right person is to get in front of. This is so valuable when you follow this process. The next thing is build relationships as people read your book. So what I'd love to do is when I give somebody a book, I'm basically giving myself a wide open follow-up approach. Here's what I mean by that. If I give somebody a book, I'm not just going to give them a book and never talk to them again. I can give them a book and then a couple weeks in say, hey, how are you enjoying the book? Oh, I haven't had a chance to read it, or thanks for the reminder. Oh, I'm loving it. Whatever their response is, I can continue the conversation and stay top of mind. If you are just pitching yourself, you're only going to be able to follow up so many times without being annoying. And there's a difference between persistence and being annoying. And this is a really, really fine way. And so when you give your book, it's a great way to do it. And then make your ask. This is how I've been able to generate tons of paid speaking engagements. I give a book, I build a relationship, they hire me for a keynote, I get repeat business, I get referrals, and boom. The cycle continues over and over and over again. The second way that I want to share with you guys how you can leverage your book to get paid as a speaker, and this may sound crazy, but it's the speak for free, okay? Now, speaking for free can be an incredibly lucrative opportunity. However, I only encourage you to do this. One, obviously, if you want to get practice and get better at your craft, but if you're trying to get paid, the only reason you speak for free is if the audience you are speaking to is your ideal audience. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to get paid on the back end of a free speech, okay? Now, if you are just beginning in your speaking career and you have a book and you want to start testing the waters, or you want to get some video or some B-roll or whatever it is, great. Go ahead, speak for free, do whatever you got to do, get your reps in. That's always going to be advantageous. There's never anything wrong with that. But if you want to speak for free to get paid, you want to make sure that this is directly to your ideal audience, okay? Personally, I love doing this for my friends who have my ideal audience because I'll speak for free. I will get all the attention from my future clients, aka the attendees, but I will also be doing my friends a great service by delivering incredible value for 45 minutes to an hour, whatever the speaker slot is. Now, I've done this all across the country. I did a speaking gig for a friend in Arizona. Okay, I want to show you how this works. My friend invited me to speak on her stage. I loved it. I accepted it. I got my own airfare. I got my own hotel, and I attended the event. Then I was able to deliver a keynote. And here's what happened at that particular keynote. I delivered the keynote, and I ended up signing a client who ended up spending about $15,000 to $20,000 with us from that free speech. That is more money than my keynote fee is at the time. And so I was able to speak for free to my ideal audience and turn that into a high-ticket client. Here's another benefit that I got from that. Several of the speakers there were people that I didn't know and I had been wanting to know, but I didn't have an in. Since we were both speaking on the same stages, I was able to build a relationship with them. They saw me speak, and now that's led to future partnerships and really exciting relationship growth. So this can be a very advantageous thing, okay? Now here's my criteria for doing this. Number one is you want to speak to your perfect audience, okay? I'm not going to speak for free if it's to an audience of people who aren't going to read my book unless I'm doing some form of charitable give back or if I just want to get the experience because I want to do it. But if I'm looking to get paid on the back end, I need to have a perfect ideal audience. My second criteria for this is you as the speaker. You must have a high-end, back-end offer for those attendees. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to necessarily pitch yourself on stage. Oftentimes, you're not actually going to do that. But if you don't have an offer on the back end, then you'll speak for free and they won't have anything to do next. So you want to make sure that you have a back-end offer in place so they can see how your keynote directly relates to your book, which leads to your high-ticket service. And then you ideally want to be able to give your lead magnet as part of this speech. So this is something that you will discuss with the host to see what you are allowed and not allowed to do. Some events, if you speak for free, you can do a complete pitch and split the profits. Sometimes, and a lot of times, you're going to speak for free, but you can give them a lead magnet. One of my favorite lead magnets to give when I speak for free is, hey, here's a free copy of my book. They just listen to me for 45 minutes. Now they grab my book, and then I follow up with them. This is an incredible, incredible way, okay? And you can see here, I spoke at an event, and I was able to meet and connect with past clients and future clients at this event. So here's how you're going to leverage free talks. You're going to deliver an incredible performance that makes the event host excited, right? Always when you're speaking is focus on the delivery of value. The better the speech, the more opportunities will follow. Next is offer a freebie as part of the keynote or workshop. Network at the event and communicate with the attendees. This is one that a lot of speakers let their ego get into play. Oh, I just spoke. I only should socialize with the speakers. Or you know what? I'm just going to speak and then I'm going to leave. There's a time and place for all of this. But if you're speaking for free on a stage with your ideal audience, well, wouldn't you want to talk to your ideal customers as much as you possibly can? That's what I thought. So what I do is I will speak for free and then I will try to be around the conference as much as possible so that I get more face time. People will ask me a ton of questions and basically I'm qualifying them as potential buyers as well as building some amazing friendships in the process. Next is after that event is to have a clear follow-up approach. So if they get your lead magnet, what is your follow-up sequence? If you connect with someone individually, what is your follow-up sequence? Can you book a call? Can you set up a time to talk? Can you send them more information? What is that next step? And then, of course, invite people to work with you if they're a good fit. Oftentimes, what I have found is that I will speak for free, deliver an incredible speech. People will ask me questions, and before I even leave the event, I have a booked call with them in a couple of days to walk them through everything and to ultimately enroll them in our process. I did a talk like this fairly recently, and it generated about 80,000 in projected sales. For us, that was about 4 to 5 different clients at our Elevate program package. Okay, this is how you can speak for free and generate tons of revenue on the back end of the deal. Now, the last way that I personally really love to do this, and this is great if you don't want to be traveling a ton. This is great if you want to do this from the space of your own office, from digital, from remote, but this is to guest coach. Now, guest coaching means that you are going to speak in someone else's community, often their online community. Okay, this can also be if you are doing local meetups or if you have something local, but this is where someone invites you to speak. They see you as the expert and they want to bring in your expertise. Now, the goal of this is that somebody else already has a community of people who are invested in what they're doing. They're looking for expert speakers on particular topics that will add value to their existing audience. So there is no easier way to get in the door with guest coaching than to have a book on the topic. Why? Because when people bring in experts for guest coaching, they want to make sure it's the best possible person for their audience. So a lot of people that I know, they know I have a book on how to write a book. So if they want a book expert, they're going to say, hey, Jake, I need a book expert on my community. People have been asking about writing a book. Can you do this? Perfect. And the coolest thing too is often they bring in experts based on what their audience is wanting and asking. So if someone's asking them for someone who knows how to talk about book writing, and then they bring me in, that person's already interested in what I have to do. Now I just get 45 minutes to an hour to showcase my skill set. So once you're brought in, a few things happen. Number one is the audience trusts you because they already trust the host. Number two is the audience has already paid money, making them buyers. They're not just freebie seekers. If there's something that really is important to them, they will invest money to solve that problem. And number three, you come in already warmed up for people that are prepped and ready for you. So guest coaching can be 15-minute Q&As to full hour-long trainings. Ultimately, it's whatever the host invites you to do. Now, my personal preference when I guest coach is I love to do the 45 to 60-minute time frame. I like to do a 30 to 45-minute training and then a 15-minute Q&A, or 45-minute training and then a 15-minute Q&A, so that I can really support all of these amazing people. Last week, I did a 45-minute guest coaching sessions with a 15-minute Q&A, and within a few days, I had signed a $20,000 client from that. Okay, this is the power of what you can do by having a book and leveraging it into speaking opportunities. Now, even though you want to get clients, I want to make this really, really clear. Your first job is to provide value to the audience and make the person who brought you look good. If you can do that, not only will you be invited back over and over and over again, but they will refer you to other communities and you will sign more clients. If your approach is coming in like, I'm going to pitch myself, I'm going to sign clients, you will come off across as more salesy and less of an expert and more of someone who's trying to pitch them. Versus if you come in there, deliver value on the topic that they asked you to deliver on, perform really, really well, answer questions, be part of their community for that moment, you will get tons and tons of opportunities, okay? So if you are serious about writing a book because you want to get more speaking engagements, then I would love to help you. And here's a few ways how. Number one is you can go to the link right here, bigideabestseller.com/free-book to get a free copy of my best-selling book, Big Idea to Bestseller. This is a step-by-step roadmap on how to write, publish, launch, and market a nonfiction book. The second way that I can support you is if you know that you want to write a book and you are committed and you want to get more speaking engagements, is click the link right here, bigideabestseller.com/call, and you can get a free session to create your game plan, create your idea for the book, and really see how you can incorporate a book into your business. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you really found value in this, and I hope that I start to see you on more stages. This is an incredible opportunity, and I look forward to chatting with you more.